We're going to talk about a type of graph that you have actually seen since at least fourth grade. I know my fourth grade daughter is working on them right now, and it was heavily tested in fifth grade. So you should be familiar with stem and leaf plots. So the data or the numbers in stem and leaf plots are ordered from least to greatest. And they're organized by place value. So for example, we've got data here about math test scores, and we want to represent that in a stem and leaf plot. So the stems, those represent the tens place. So go ahead and label this the tens place. And the leaves represent the ones place. So when we look at our grades here, the lowest grades that we have are in the 80s, and the highest ones that we have are 100. So we just need to represent the tens place starting with the 80s. So that would be an 8 in the tens place, and then a 9 for the 90s, and then a 10 for the 100s. Those are not data values. Those are just the tens that are going to go with our leaves on the other side. So when we look at our data, we've got an 80. So 80 is represented by an 8 and a 0. So that right there is 80. I'm going to cross off the ones that I use to make sure that I don't miss any. Now I see some 83s. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 83s. So 1, 2, 3, 4 83s. I have an 88 and I have an 89. That's supposed to be a 9. Okay, so then we move on to the 90s. We have a 91, 3 93s. We have a 95 and a 98. And then we have the 2 100s. So what I like to do when I'm reading a stem and leaf plot is to use my 2 fingers. I know that this is 100, 100, 91, 93, 93, 93, 95, 98. I like to read it together so that I'm not getting confused. These don't go alone and these don't go alone. They have to go together. And then usually stem and leaf plots have a key at the bottom. So it could say something like this. 8 with a line and another 8 means 88. Or it might say that that equals 88. That green does not show up well. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. 8. Is that any better? A little better. Okay, so some questions that they could ask us on a stem and leaf plot down at the bottom. What was the highest test score? So I want you to pretend that these up here are not there anymore, okay? Because obviously we could look at those things and figure out, but we want to be able to do it just from the stem and leaf plot. So you're going to find your highest number by looking at your highest stem and leaf together. And so our highest one is 100. For the lowest score, again, you're going to look at your lowest stem and the lowest leaf on that score. Some people look over here and they see 89, and for some reason they think that's the smallest, but we've got to look all the way to the smallest leaf. So 80 was the lowest test score. If we know the highest and we know the lowest, then we can find range. Remember, range is your highest minus your lowest. So that would be 100 minus 80, which equals 20. So our range would be 20. Mode, remember mode is your most repeated value. So we had 3 93s, but we had 4 83s. So our mode would be 83. Median is your middle number. So if they gave you a stem and leaf plot, you would have to list out the values before you start trying to find the middle. It's really hard to find the middle just from the stem and leaf plot itself. So we already have ours listed out, but if they didn't give you those, you would have to list it out like that. Okay, so I have 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7. So 91 is in the middle. That makes that our median. How many students made a 100? Well, we had 2 100s here, so that would be 2. And then it says how many students score more than a 90. We don't have any 90s, but just in case we had a 90, we wouldn't count a 90 because that's not more than 90. So more than 90 starts with 91. So all of these right here and the 100s would be included. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 90s and then 2 100s. So that means that 8 people scored more than a 90. And then for how many kids took the test, that's all of our leaves. Remember, the stems go with the leaves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 students took the math test. Okay, so that is how you can make a stem and leaf plot and how you can answer some basic questions about the stem and leaf plot. But let's look and see how this would be tested on STAR or on your next test. So this says the total number of cupcakes sold in a fundraiser is shown in the stem and leaf plot. Which statement is best supported by the data in the stem and leaf plot? Okay, so it says the range is 27. So remember, range is your highest minus your lowest. So our highest number here is 37. Our lowest number is 12. And if I subtract that, I get 25, not 27. So I'm going to get rid of that. That's not true. It would actually be 25. Then it says the range is 19. Okay, well, that is also not true because we just found out, again, it's 25. The most common number of cupcakes sold is 15, or the most common number is 30. Remember, that's your mode, so your most repeated value. So I see a couple of 37s. I only see one 30, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. I see 2 24s, but I do see 4 15s. So that one is true. So the mode or the most common number on our stem and leaf plot is 15. Okay, the next one, they are including a dot plot. So we've learned about dot plots. We've learned about stem and leaf plots. We need to be able to compare them to see if they show the same data. It says which one represents the data in the line plot. Okay, so I noticed there's a 21. This one's got a 21. That one's got a 21. This one starts at 11. Our dot plot doesn't go down to 11, so I'm going to get rid of C. This one also has a 21. Then it's supposed to have 2 22s. So this one has 22, 22. That looks good. This one goes to 23 and then 22, which that's the wrong order, and there's not 2 22s. So I'm going to get rid of B. We're not supposed to have any 23s, so we could definitely get rid of B now. Both of these don't have that. Okay, but if I look here, these have 2 25s like this does. This one has 2 26s. This one goes to 27 and then 28. Well, when I look at my dot plot, there's not supposed to be any 26s, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of answer choice A. And let me just double check. So we're supposed to have a 27 and a 28. That looks good. No 29s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 30s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks good. And then 3 33s. 1, 2, 3. Yep. So answer choice D is our answer there. Okay, so please use these notes to complete your assignment. If you need help, let me know.